I'm standing by the soapstone counter in the chemistry bay, where the ventilation hood is sucking all the vapors away. The iron ring stand is level, the glassware is clean, a perfect laboratory layout for a frozen routine. I turn the brass wheel forward on the utility line, releasing the methane fuel of your history and mine. The striker gives a click, a sharp metallic spark, boring a localized incision through the clinical dark. And I'm burning the buns and flame alone tonight, a hot sapphire cone under the low laboratory light. No technical collaboration and no shared review, just a clean administrative heat in the absence of you. The gas is flowing uniform, a steady blue line, operating at a maximum along the grid line. A specialized combustion on a level stone plane, wasting all the energy inside my layout of pain. I watch the primary spectrum of the inner core glow at a high temperature metric from 2 Junes ago. We used to balance equations when our mornings were golden, test the thermal properties of a hand I could hold. Now the beaker is boiling with the mineral brine, a heavy physical record of this breakdown of mine. The condensation is sheeting down the borosilicate frame, mirroring the patterns where the glass forgot your name. You can open up the collar or adjust the event to alter the velocity of everything we spent, but a chemistry reaction won't buffer out the chill when the software is crashed and the internal engine stays still. The validation token is completely destroyed, leaving a blue static fire to fill up the void, locked inside the laboratory wall. And now I'm burning the buns and flame alone tonight, a hot sapphire cone under the low laboratory light. No technical collaboration, no shared review, just a clean administrative heat in the absence of you. The gas is flowing uniform, a steady blue line, operating at a maximum along the grid line. A specialized combustion on a level stone plane, wasting all the energy inside my layout of pain. I turn the main valve tight and the sapphire pitch declines, the final audio record of your history and mine. The copper tube goes quiet, the database layer is through, and the burner goes cold in the absence of you. I'm standing out flat on the unpainted timber dock plate, watching the low pressure fog lay settle over our fate. The water is a slate gray mirror 40 feet deep, holding the structural parameters that the zoning must keep. I open up my mouth underneath the overcast sky and shout a single high decibel metric of our final goodbye. The acoustic wave travels straight across the reservoir frame, pouring through the atmosphere that once carried your name. And it's just echoes across the lake tonight, a delayed audio reflection out of the public light. The frequency returns with a of a permanent fall. The duration is exactly 3 seconds between the report and administrative summary of a love that fell short. I checked the input folders on my mobile display, but the network layer's dead at the closing of the day. We used to share quiet when our mornings were fresh, before we trapped our timelines in the steel cable mesh. Now the acoustics are wide, a clinical record of waste, an industrial theater that your departure erased. You can amplify the signal or adjust the vocal pitch to try and force a feedback across the drainage ditch, but a secondary refraction won't buffer the chill when the software is crashed and the internal engine stays still. The response is identical, a low voltage chime logging the metrics of our running out of time. Locked in the timber hall, and it's just echoes across the lake tonight. A delayed audio reflection out of the public light. The frequency returns with a hollowed out strain, a mechanical copy of my absolute pain. No direct transmission and no baseline of trust, just an unrepaired sound wave turning straight into dust. It bounces off the aggregate on the far mountain wall, mapping out the dimensions of a permanent fall. The wave attenuation drops flatly to a 0.9, the final physical index for this breakdown of mine. The surface goes dead quiet, the database layer is through, and the echo dissolves in the absence of you. Still moving the shadows you left on the floor, like I'm waiting for footsteps to rattle the door. The air in this kitchen is thick as a wall, and I'm leaning against it, just waiting to fall. I try to breathe deeply, but the oxygen's gone, replaced by the pressure of another cold dawn. It's a physical burden, a heavy-duty ghost, a silent, relentless, invisible host. And oh, it's the weight of your absence tonight, crushing the hope in a flickering light. It's heavier now than when you were right here, a mountain of silence, a forest of fear. I'm pinned to the memory, I'm stuck in the grave, while the nothing between us just takes me away. It's a hollowed out ache, a stone in my chest. The weight of your absence won't let me rest. Silence, a forest of fear. I'm timber drops so flatly at an elevation mark, leaving just the open granite in the frozen alpine dark. I've climbed beyond the borders where the root systems grow into a scaleless architecture of wind and of snow. The survey maps are useless, the topographies fail when there are no structural vectors left to anchor the trail. I look back down the ridgeline through the freezing white screen, bypassing the coordinate grid where your house should be seen. And I'm just lost outside the tree line tonight. An administrative vacancy out of the public light. No canopy to cover me, no trunk to break the gale. Just a raw exposure where the frameworks all fail. A biological boundary that I shouldn't have crossed, leaving all our equity completely frozen and lost. The elevation's peaking, the baseline is dead on a high altitude plateau where the daylight bled. The barometric gauge is dropped into a dangerous zone, a clinical confirmation that I'm staying here alone. My boots are slipping slowly on the aggregate stone right outside the parameters that we used to own. We used to find a safety in the low-lying wood back when our baseline alignment was completely understood. Now the protection is zero, the relief map is cleared, a permanent sub-zero since the day you disappeared. You can look for an orientation or check the compass ring, but a geographic anchor won't fix a broken down thing. The atmospheric pressure is too heavy to pass, turning every bit of history to crystalline mass. I'm a solitary data point exposed on the peak, and I'm just lost outside the tree line tonight. An administrative vacancy out of the public light. No canopy to cover me, no trunk to break the gale. Just a raw exposure where the frameworks all fail. A biological boundary that I shouldn't have crossed, leaving all our equity completely frozen and lost. The elevation's peaking, the baseline is dead on a high altitude plateau where the daylight bled. The oxygen is thinning, the display goes blind. The final technical indicator left entirely behind. The landscape stays unyielding, the matrix is through, and the tree line drops away in the absence of you. I've unrolled the ripstop now on the frozen forest floor, 30 miles past the matrix and the heavy entryway door. The synthetic insulation is a thin geometric sheet built to simulate a barrier against a total defeat. Canopy above me is an unbending lattice gray, dropping dry administrative fragments straight onto my layout tray. A cluster of sharp vectors sliding down the technical seam, puncturing the fabric of my broken down dream. And it's just pine needles on a cold sleeping bag tonight. A harsh organic friction in the low flashlight light. mattress and no ceiling grid of blue. Just an unweighted expansion in the absence of you. A freezing architecture for a solitary guest, with a row of sharp needles caked across my chest. I checked the thermal properties printed on the nylon shell, a clinical specification for where our relationship fell. It says 0 degrees, rated in a silver block font, a permanent calculation that I didn't quite want. We used to track the constellations from a warm bedroom pane, back when your matching cadence was tucked inside my lane. Now the aggregate is rocky caked in frost and installed from a cross-country transit that came to a halt. You can zip up the collar or pull the draw cord tight to force an installation in the middle of the night. But a hardware restriction won't buffer the chill when the software is crashed and the internal engine stays still. The forest is quiet, the relief map is cleared, and the scenery is monotone since you disappeared. Locked in the topsoil below, and it's just pine needles on a cold sleeping bag tonight. A harsh organic friction in the low flashlight light. The gathering completely uniform, pointed and bare, sucking out the remaining clearance of my deep despair. No soft domestic mattress and no ceiling grid of blue. Just an unweighted expansion in the absence of you. A freezing architecture for a solitary guest, with a row of sharp needles caked across my chest. The twilight drops down flatly without a purple trace, an unbending template for your long vanished face. The metal teeth stay frozen, the database layer is through, and the pine needles settle in the absence of you. I'm lying flat out on the military cot, frame iron, listening to the weather turn a heavy old siren. The overhead structure is an olive drab sheet, 18 ounces of canvas for a total defeat. The water drops are hidden with a high velocity thud right above the grass line that is turning into mud. A rhythmic sort of static, a mechanical applause pouring through the layout of our permanent small pause. And it's just rain on the canvas roof tonight, a heavy deceleration out of the public light. The fibers are all swelling as the moisture hits the wheat, a structural partition for a person who must leave. No soft drywall insulation and no ceiling grid of blue, just an unbending ceiling in the absence of you. A military shelter for a heartbroken guest, with 1,000 liquid fractions pounding down across my chest. The sound of wet flags is rising thick from the seam, a damp industrial record of a broken down dream. I watch a single droplet glide along the center ridge, right where the tension vectors form a fragile little bridge. We used to check the forecast from a warm bedroom pane, back when your matching cadence was tucked inside my lane. Now the relief map is cleared and the inventory's bare, and the downpour is the only thing that's moving out here. You can tighten up the guy ropes or just the wooden pole. They're trying to force a clearance through a system not whole, but a structural expansion won't buffer out the chill. When the software is crashed and the internal engine stays still, the environment is unyielding, the baseline data's null. A complete systematic evacuation of the whole, sinking deep into the topsoil of the park. And it's just rain on the canvas roof tonight, a heavy deceleration of the public light. The fibers are all swelling as the moisture hits the weave, a structural partition for a person who must leave. No soft drywall insulation and no ceiling grid of blue, just an unbending ceiling in the absence of you. A military shelter for a heartbroken guest, with 1,000 liquid fractions pounding down across my chest. The moisture seeps completely down a steep exterior line, the final administrative marker for your history and mine. The fabric stays heavy, the database layer is through, and the canvas stays sodden in the absence of you. I'm anchoring my spine against the flexible aluminum pole, trying to stabilize a transit that has lost its control. The ripstop floorboard is a thin polyurethane green, stretched flatly out across a frozen alpine scene. High up above my head, the double stitching is tight, holding out the moisture of a heavy winter night. But there's a massive clearance on the right side of the tray, 30 inches of space where the darkness settles to stay. And I'm just shivering in a two-person tent tonight, a dual specification out of the public light. The nylon walls are fluttering a high-frequency strain. On my layout pane, no body heat matrix to buffer out the chill. And the software is crashed and the internal drive goes still, an empty calculation for an absolute defeat, and a two-person shelter with a single frozen seat. The ventilation flaps are open, letting in the mist right where the parameters of a boundary exist. I check the temperature rating printed on the storage sack, a clinical metric showing that we're never going back. We used to crowd these borders when our mornings were gold, sharing all the details of a life we could hold. Now I'm just an admin for a solitary load, sorting out the statistics on an unbending road. You can pull the rain flights or to peg the guidelines deep, to try and force a comfort while the wilderness is asleep. But a spatial expansion won't alter the scale when the insulation dies and the frameworks all fail. The database is looping in the dark timber hall, and the frost is condensing on the synthetic wall. And I'm just shivering in a tube person 10 tonight. A dual specification out of the public light. The nylon walls are fluttering at high frequency strain. All my layout pain, no body heat matrix to buffer out the chill when the software is crashed and the internal drive goes still. An empty calculation for an absolute defeat, and a two-person shelter with a single frozen seat. The lantern battery drops down to a single red line, the final tech index for this breakdown of mine. The scenes stay frozen, the baseline is through, and the tent stays too wide in the absence of you. The sun comes rolling heavy through the double pane glass. A low acoustic pressure hitting all our layout mess. It's 9 AM exactly, but the clock wheels do not care. Logging in administrative milestone through the freezing air. The copper bells are swinging in the masonry tower lane. An automated cycle tracking my internal pain. 100 decibels of brass exploding on the town, while my own little architecture lets the quiet down. And it's the Sunday morning bells ringing empty today, washing all the primary reflections straight away. A loud religious metric over coordinate squares, dumping its statistics on a stadium of despairs. No golden hour ritual and no text layer of grace, just a hollow vibration in this empty box space. The frequency is uniform, clinical and clear, screaming out the baseline of a ghost town of a year. I look down at the driveway where the frost is setting tight on the gravel configurations of our final flight. The neighborhood is moving, doors are clicking in the street as the clean consumers navigate a total clear retreat. We used to share these hours when our mornings were all gold, believing in a network that our hands could tightly hold. Now the volume is a barrier, a high decibel shield to make sure the internal fraction never is revealed. You can tune the iron clappers or adjust the tilt rod frame to try and force a comfort that can carry your sweet name, but acoustic insulation won't buffer out the chill when the software is crashed and the local engine is still. The transmission is delayed, the encryption key is null, a complete systematic evacuation of the hull, locked inside a monotone sky. And it's the Sunday morning bells ringing empty today, washing all the primary reflections straight away. A loud religious metric over coordinate squares, dumping its statistics on a stadium of despairs. No golden hour ritual and no text layer of grace, just a hollow vibration in this empty box space. The frequency is uniform, clinical and clear, screaming out the baseline of a ghost town of a year. The wave attenuation drops down flatly to the stone. The final administrative credit left out here alone. The clappers stay unmoving, the database layer is through, and the brass rings quiet in the absence of you. I'm kneeling by the ring of blackened river aggregate stone, 30 miles deep inside the timber where I'm staying alone. The split pine logs have settled down into an ash gray heap. An unmonitored execution while the wilderness is deep. The thermal output's dropping down to zero on the scale, leaving the perimeter caked in a frozen smoky veil. A single line of vapor rises uniform and high, slicing the coordinates of an overcast sky. And the campfire smoldered out in the valley tonight, a quiet deceleration from the pale flashlight light. No sudden downpour hitting and no wind gust from the past, just a steady leak of current turning embers into mast. The insulation's dead and the baseline has cleared, a clinical freeze since the day you disappeared. I watched the primary colors turn to charcoal and stone, and the final spark dies out here alone. The heat has evaporated from the iron skillet, making the definition of the campsite dark and dim. I look at the unwashed tin mug sitting by the log, where the hazelnut oil is condensing in the fog. We used to build these furnaces when Junes were fresh and loud, back when our future was an unpartitioned cloud. Now the utility is finished, the database is blank, an administrative blackout on this cold hollow bank. You can poke at the cinders, throw one dry brush to try and force a feedback or a sudden thermal rush, but a chemical collapse won't buffer out the chill when the software is crashed and the internal engine is still. The ventilation loops through the branches of oak, and the promise is completely reduced down to smoke, locked in the topsoil below. And the campfire smoldered out in the valley tonight, a quiet deceleration from the pale flashlight light. No sudden downpour hitting and no wind gust from the past, just a steady leak of current turning embers into mass. The insulation's dead and the baseline has cleared, a clinical freeze since the day you disappeared. I watched the primary colors turn to charcoal and stone, and the final spark dies out here alone. The carbon stays quiet as the midnight rolls low. No further momentum for love on the go. The display goes completely blind, the layout is through, and the campfire stays cold in the absence of you. I'm holding the heavy brass casing inside my frozen palm, watching the fluid stabilization try to generate a calm. The glass lens is scratched, a hairline fracture on the face, slicing straight across the markers of this empty box place. The needle is floating loose, a high-precision steel line, magnetize the data points that don't match yours or mine. I rotate my boots 90 degrees on the aggregate stone, monitoring the alignment to make sure I'm staying alone. And the compass points anywhere but home tonight, a blind navigation out of the public light. The vector is shifting, spinning wild and free, a clear administrative cutoff between the house and me. It tracks life, I'm torn apart, and a needle pointing anywhere but back to your dead heart. But back to your dead heart. The Orient and Arrow drops straight down to the southwest track, bypassing the northern grid where the phantoms look back. I checked the degree scales printed on the perimeter ring, a clinical specification for a broken down thing. We used to follow single lines when our mornings were fresh, believing in a network that our hands could tightly mesh. Now the bearing is zero, the baseline calibration is null, a complete organizational evacuation of the hull. You can verify the ports or calculate the magnetic drift, to try and force the feedback or explain the seasonal shift, but a mechanical needle won't buffer out the chill when the software has crashed and the internal engine goes still. It refuses to settle on the blueprint we once made, carrying the traveler deep into the environmental fade, locked on an unbending route, and the compass points anywhere but home tonight. A blind navigation out of the public light. The vector is shifting, spinning wild and free, a clear administrative cutoff between the house and me. It tracks to the transit lines, the highway, the bay, washing the coordinates of our old foundation away. A small piece of hardware for a lifetime torn apart, and a needle pointing anywhere but back to your dead heart. The dial stabilizes flatly on an anonymous degree, the final technological indicator left out here for me. The orientation holds steady, the database layer is through, and the compass points forward in the absence of you. I'm left standing, frozen by the cedar trunk base, as the complete technical blackout takes over the space. The heavy plastic container is dead in my grip, a hardware failure on this final long trip. The coiled spring contacts are brittle and cold, shedding the last connection that our hands used to hold. No amber warning signal, no indicator glow, just an absolute zero where the winter winds blow. And the lantern battery died in the woods tonight, a total system termination of the remaining light. The 6-volt current dropped flat to the line, leaving a pitch black template for this breakdown of mine. No secondary filament, no emergency ray to separate the shadows from the industrial stone gray. A dead polymer casing on a level dirt plane, in a dark plastic shell holding all my layout pain. I shake the heavy housing, but the static stays dead. A literal acoustic of the final words you said. The chemical layers have completely dried out, locking the perimeter in a frozen systemic doubt. We used to clear paths when our mornings were gold, with a high resolution map that our fingers could hold. Now the server logs the error, the validation is cleared. An administrative winter since the day you disappeared. You can tap the plastic casing or adjust the metal switch to try and force a feedback across the drainage ditch, but a lead acid failure won't buffer out the chill when the software is crashed and the internal engine stays still. The infrastructure's blind at the core of the frame, and the lantern battery died in the woods tonight. for a love on the go. The display goes completely blind, the database is through, and the lantern stays dark in the absence of you. Saturated you. I'm monitoring the reaction in the borosilicate flask, running an administrative and the solitary task. The liquid was a clear transparency an hour ago, when the thermometrics started climbing from below. I added 3 precision drops of silver nitrate strain right past the outer borders of our frozen layout lane. But the molecular alignment didn't balance or hold, shedding the configuration that we managed in the gold. And the solution turned cloudy in the peak of the night, a sudden precipitation under laboratory light, a milky white occlusion taking over the frame, drowning out the clear text that carried your name. No system error to blame for the chemical crash, just a baseline matrix turning beauty to ash. The metric was flawless, the blueprint was true, and I'm the operator who saturated you. Particles are clustering, the heavy silver mass settling down completely cold against the bottom glass. We used to run these mixtures when the summers were fresh, believing in the network that our hands could tightly mesh. Now the density is rising and the indicator's dark, a physical refraction of a broken down spark. I trace the horizontal line where layers divide, an unrepaired record where our histories collide. You can try to filter out the chalky stone sill to restore the clean foundation of the history we built, but a chemical solidification won't buffer the chill when the software has crashed and the main drive stays still. The solution is broken, the parameters cleared, a permanent sub-zero since the day you disappeared, locked inside the laboratory bay. And the solution turned cloudy in the beak of the night, a sudden precipitation under laboratory light, a milky white occlusion taking over the frame, drowning out the clear text that carried your name. No system error to blame for the chemical crash, just a baseline matrix turning beauty to ash. The metric was flawless, the blueprint was true, and I'm the operator who saturated you. Suspension stops moving as the midnight rolls low, no further acceleration for love on the go. The display goes completely flat, the database is through, and the beaker stays cloudy in the absence of you. Boots are crunching heavy on the coarse basalt ballast stone, walking the industrial spur where I'm staying here alone. The rusted iron rails stretch out parallel and straight, carrying a dead freight line to the border of our fate. The factory wall is looming 40 feet of brick and grime, a dark administrative monument to running out of time. The switching yards are quiet, all the boxcars locked and still, underneath the low pressure canopy that brings a heavy chill. And I'm just walking the tracks behind the factory tonight, an isolated transit out drainage culverts where the oily runoffs blend. Chemical synchronization of a sudden cold, and I watch the yellow warning signals flicker in the sleet, casting geometric fractions on the path of my retreat. We used to count the timber ties when summers were all gold, believing in a network that our hands could tightly hold. Now the spikes are pulling loose, the wood and crossed eyes have decayed, mirroring the patterns of the choices that you made. You can try to clear the switching points or verify the ports to force a configuration for love that fell short, but a hardware restriction won't buffer out the chill when the main drive is stripped and the internal engine stays still. The validation token is completely cleanly cleared, and the signaling is dead since the day you disappeared. Locked on a motionless route, and I'm just walking the tracks behind the factory tonight, an isolated transit out of the public light. The steel lines are cold beneath the low security flare, sucking out the remaining clearance of my deep despair. No passenger schedule and no warm train coming through, just an unbending right away in the absence of you. A linear disaster on a level gravel plane in an unyielding corridor, holding all my layout pain. The high beams of a switcher drop dissolve the dark display, turning the metallic rust back to industrial gray. The alignment stays frozen, the database layer is through, and the tracks stay empty in the absence of you. I'm leaning my back on a hollow cedar trunk, deep inside a timber block where the network has sunk. The flashlight is dead and the dashboard is miles away, leaving my anatomy in the cold organic grave. Up above my head on an unbending branch plate sits a 2-pound predator monitoring our late fate. I can see the yellow circles of its lenses in the dark, catching the low frequency reflection of a winter spark. And I'm just whispering to the owls tonight, an unmeasured vocabulary out of the public light, delivering my ledger to a biological machine that doesn't require a data feed to run its routine. No conscious confirmation and no echo to clear, just a low decibel static in a ghost town of a year. I'm pouring out the syntax of our absolute crash to a silent audience, turning beauty into ash. The bird gives a tilt of its feathers to the right, a clinical micro-expression in the middle of the night. It doesn't blink or shift on its skeletal perch as I drop the statistics of my solitary search. We used to share a cadence that was quiet, soft and true, back when our baseline system didn't require me losing you. Now I reduce the layout to a desperate vocal strain, boring through the canopy to compartmentalize the pain. You can look for in advance or request a loop code to intercept the traveler on an unbending road, but a wilderness partition won't buffer out the chill when the software is crashed and the internal engine stays still. The audio attenuation drops straight to the floor, and the creature doesn't listen to my words anymore. Locked on its predatory route, and I'm to a silent audience, turning beauty into ash. The wings expand flatly without a single sound, sucking out the airwaves from the timber all around. The shadow drops off flat, the display goes blind, and the whisper into the owls leaves me far behind. I've been soaking in the cast iron porcelain tub for an hour flat, staring at the drainage fixture where the rust spots sat. The water's turned a stagnant shade of grey beneath the light, losing all the thermal value in the middle of the night. I lift my hands up high above the cooling mineral sheen, exposing the extremities of a broken down machine. The skin along my palms is warped into a white design, a physical distortion on this coordinate grid of mine. And I've got wrinkled fingertips and a cold heart tonight, a structural decay out of the public light. The tissue is all puckered from the density of space, tracing out a template that completely hides your face. No warm circulation left, no biological spark, just 10 like pointers moving blindly through the dark. The insulation's failed and the baseline drops low on a flat asphalt mirror where the winter currents blow. The ridges on my thumbs are deep, caked in friction and salt, from a 3-year transaction that came to a sudden halt. We used to interlace our hands when mornings were all gold, mapping out the details of a future we could hold. Now the endpoints are shriveled, the credentials have been cleared, in administrative blankness since the day you disappeared. I touch the tile borders where the grout is turning black, clinical confirmation that I'm never going back. You can rub your palms together or dial up the heat to force a clinical simulation of a total clean retreat. But a deep capillary drop won't yield to the air when the software is crashed and the core is bare. The data link is broken at the surface of the skin to let the absolute baseline of midnight win. And I've got wrinkled fingertips and a cold heart tonight, a structural decay out of the public light. The tissue is all puckered from the density of space, tracing out a template that completely hides your face. No warm circulation left, no biological spark, just 10 like pointers moving blindly through the dark. The insulation's failed and the baseline drops low on a flat asphalt mirror where the winter currents blow. I pull the rubber stopper in the gray liquid drains, an acoustic acceleration of my absolute pains. The layout goes dead quiet, the database layer is through, and my fingertips stay wrinkled in the absence of you.